Okay, awesome. Today we have Taylor and John from BoxUp, and they're one of our newer strategic suppliers here in 2026. We're really, really excited to have them here. Folks, thanks for being a part of the strategic supplier initiative with Promo EQP, and take it away.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's good to have some conversations. We've been a part of Promo EQP for some time now, and we really want to build more relationships and build stronger relationships. And so once you came to us about the strategic partner, that was something that was kind of a no-brainer for us. We've missed a couple opportunities like the Wrigley thing that you guys did before ASI Chicago and some of those other events like outside of in Vegas. So we really want to get in touch with a lot of the distributors within Promo EQP. So we're really excited today to share what BoxUp has. We have quite a bit of new stuff. So if anybody who's on here or views the recording, thinks, oh, I know what BoxUp does, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just stick with us here. We have some things on here that are exciting that we're really happy to share. So to start, BoxUp makes it easy to drastically enhance the emotional response someone feels when they receive a promo item. I like to call it the Christmas morning feeling. So just, everyone's gifting items, and that's pretty standard across the board. But how can you enhance that? How can you make the customers feel more loved, more cared about, more valued? And the box is something that's really a simple and easy thing to do to be able to increase that emotional response that someone feels. So BoxUp's a little bit different from some of the other packaging companies, starting with the fact that we offer standard sizes. So we didn't start out to say, hey, we're going to do 24 sizes. The sizes grew based on needs. So, if you ever reach out to me or Taylor or Laura or anyone on our team, and you ask for a specific size, we'll push you to one of our standard sizes. But if there's something that it's a size that we don't have anything close to, we've definitely taken that feedback and created sizes due to popular requests. So feel free to be able to reach out to us, even if it's a project that we can't do right now. That doesn't mean we'll never be able to do it. We print and we're full color CMYK digital, and the benefit of that is you can get as creative as you like with the artwork for no additional cost. There's no setup fees. There's no add $49 per color charge, anything like that. You can get as creative as you like with the artwork for no additional cost. The only differentiator in cost is for outside print only or two-sided print. So one-sided or two-sided print. And then our MOQs starting at 12 in increments of a dozen. We're just coming up on our 10-year anniversary. And, I know a lot of people have changed a little bit in the 10 years since we started, but once we started with the 12-piece MOQs, it was really revolutionary in the space. And so we've stuck with that. No project is too small for us. We want to be able to, like I said earlier, enhance the emotional response from the gifting campaign for even if it's a project of 24, because we firmly believe that it makes any project better. Industry leading turn times. We print everything in Indiana, made in the USA, and we're eco-friendly. So we ship everything out of Indiana. Production time standard is 10 business days. We have an express option of 7 days. And then our rush option is 4 business days plus next day air. So, to kind of summarize this page, there's no project that's too small for us. We can get basically no project that would be too quick for what we can do. And, all the good things about eco-friendly, we're 100% recyclable product. So it doesn't matter how much you print the box. You can recycle that box 100%. And all of our materials are made from at least 50% recycled materials from where we get our raw materials. They're SFI certified. So basically for every tree they take, then they add one. So boxes are a really good story for eco-friendly. I know that that's a hot button topic for a lot of places. And so, compared to anything plastic or, the corrugated options are really good from the eco-friendly standpoint. And I guess I should have said earlier, for anyone that's on here, feel free to answer or ask a question in the chat. Taylor and Laura are on here, so they'll be able to get you taken care of, or you can stop me as well. Our display mailers are our most popular structure. So you can see there's 10 different sizes in the display mailer. Front, inside and outside print on that, and that's a front roll tuck box. So the inside print portion is really great because even the outside of the box might, if you make it look plain, and then once they open it up, it's that wow factor, that pop of color that kind of smacks you in the face when you open up the box and reveals your product. The 12 by 10 by 4 has been our most popular size for years. So it's great for fitting a tumbler, a shirt, a hat, t-shirt, any of those kitting campaigns that are very popular, onboarding kits, anything like that you're sending out. Do really well holding up in the mail. We don't have problems with, the boxes crushing, anything like that. So all of our boxes on here are shipper quality, except for the carry handles, just because if you see there on the bottom with the handle, it is kind of clunky and it would probably get banged up a little bit in transit. So that's really the only in-person box, but all the other ones are really great for shipping. The shipper style right there, you can see the largest size that we offer is 13 by 13 by 10. And the shippers and the square mailers, they're made out of B flute, so they're a little bit thicker. The display mailers are E flute. Still, like I said, still great for shipping, but if you're doing something heavier, like say candles or books, and you need something bigger, the shipper styles works great. Gift mailers are really good for drinkware. The 4x4x8 was designed with a Yeti tumbler, or any brand of tumbler in mind, and the 4¼ by 4¼ by 12.5 was designed for like a liquor or wine bottle that fits well in there. End open square mailers are as well great for some of those larger ones. As you can see, those have some of the larger dimensions, 14 by 14 by 2¼ and such. And then who needs BoxUp? So I'll run through a couple of these relatively quick. It's just good imaging to show, just to kind of spark some interest to think, okay, I don't really use boxes, and how could I? Like what would be a good client for that? So this one is showing the College of Nursing, and this one's really great because it shows how well a box looks while kitted. A frequently asked question of ours is, do you do inserts? And so we don't, just like how we do stock sizes. The inserts is one of those things that's very custom by nature to be able to have a cutout for this and that. It's just hard to scale it. So as you see here, there's crinkle in there. Crinkle and tissue paper are the inner packing options that we offer. We do have people who source inserts elsewhere that will fit in our box, and that's a great option as well. But as you can see here, the items generally fill up the majority of the box, and so a handful of crinkle to kind of keep them in place to avoid shifting in transit usually does a good job. Right here is another university box. So we get a lot of those. This one's a season ticket box. And so, as you get into thinking about university, there's so many different use cases within universities. Sports is one that's been very, very good for us, for our clients that have reached out, to do season ticket boxes or, kits for all kinds of things within universities, alumni thank yous. Couple more here I'll run through. This is the 4x4x8 that I referenced. That, like I said, it fits a tumbler perfectly. That's what it was designed for. And the thing about this box is it's really a really cheap add-on. Not cheap as in like not great, but it's a really affordable, I should say, add-on to be maybe in that $3 range, to be able to take that tumbler, which everyone gives tumblers, and be able to elevate that campaign to make it, instead of just like, hey, here's your tumbler. You can, on here it shows this was a nurse appreciation box. And so being able to turn that tumbler into a whole gifting campaign with something as simple as a few dollar box. Here's a good image of our shipper. So this is our shipper large, and you can see there's all kinds of items in here, being that it fits the larger items with that 10 inches of depth. And so it has some backpacks and things like that in there. And again, this is one that's a little bit thicker. So if you're thinking, hey, I'm putting some larger items in here, they get kind of heavy, that's fine, because that box is made for that. And then here's another option that shows the crinkle. Kind of run through these here. Real estate's a good one that I haven't touched on. We actually just created, like I said earlier, that we're listening as far as the sizes, and we had people that were saying, "Hey, I love that 12 by 10 by 4," and at closings, or realtors are using that quite frequently. And this one's showing a realtor box there for the gifting, or I get my closing documents and they just put it into a bag. Usually, I want to do it in a box, but the 12 by 10 by 4, if I'm not doing those tumblers and larger items, I want it to be a little bit thinner. So we just launched a 12 by 9 by 2 quite recently that fits all the pieces of paper that you would need and still be able to get creative, but when you didn't need completely that 4 inches of depth. So we kind of touched on the who and now the why. So, why use custom printed boxes? And I've talked about it a little bit. An upsell is a big one because, obviously everyone's in this to be able to sell products to make some money. And then there's another margin that you can make on top of that. So you can create a gifting experience to make it more memorable, but you're also being able to increase your revenue on that project by, you're already selling $30 worth of product that are going in the box, and you make a few more dollars on the box, and you're completing a lot of different tasks at once. And then changing the role is a big one as well, a true value add. And one of the things that we say is like, how do I, like, John, how do I start selling custom boxes? I sell all these products, but no one ever necessarily just comes out and asks for me. We just say to ask on every project, how do you plan on presenting these items? And it's not there's no pressure behind that, and it's not always going to lead to a box sale. Sometimes someone may just need a bag or any type of different project, but just asking that and being diligent about saying, how do you plan on presenting these items? And then most of the time, the responses that we hear is, I haven't thought about it. And now that, after this presentation, you should have a pretty good clue of, well, if something fits in one of the boxes that BoxUp offers, it's a pretty easy process to order it. And I have a general idea of how to do so. A couple tools we offer, we have 3D mock-ups. Our site is really good. I'll show it here in a moment, to where you can see that live 3D virtual. So as you're creating artwork, it's updating in live time. So I'll show that on the next slide. And it's a really simple process. Taylor is here, like I said earlier, and she's very helpful in helping to create and to bring your project to life. So in the past, we've always said that we're DIY when it comes to art, but now more than ever, because of Taylor, we're able to help with artwork more than ever. So if you provide a logo with a general idea of what you want in the background, we can bring something to life to you really quickly. And if you are wanting to, or you have, just a little bit of design prowess, we've made it really easy on our site. So this is just boxup.com. And on the left-hand side, you'll see industry, and there's maybe 10 categories there, and then themes. So I think on this one, there's 200 pre-made designs. So if you have someone in the medical field, you can click on their medical, and then you can see the 7 box designs that we already have to give you a really good place to start, and just add their logo or add their website and go from there. You can also start from scratch in the editor. And like I said earlier, it's really simple to just upload your logo there. We have hundreds and hundreds of pre-made backgrounds right there, just stock backgrounds that you can change the color really easily. You can see on the drop down there, the person didn't like the orange, so they wanted to make it a blue. And right away on the right-hand side there, it updated in live time so they could see how those colors work with each other. Once you add a logo in there, then it updates on there as well. You can see you can open the box, drag, rotate it. And we do have an option to be able to share this with the customer. So you can share it, because in the past, it was always just sending them screenshots. And it's tough from a customer's perspective to just see 3 screenshots and know, is that the bottom, the top? Is this right side up or upside down? Like, what am I actually looking at here? So the 3D virtual helps to be able to bring that idea to life. And a lot of people use this as a sales tool. So it might be the first interaction they have. The customer asked about, buying a hat and a tumbler, and they didn't even say anything about a box, but that, hey, how are they going to present these items? Let me bring their design to life I already have their logo that I'm putting on the tumbler. Let me put it on a box. It takes a minute to upload the logo and put it on the stock background. And I can show them this 3D virtual, and that will help for me to be able to close the sale and again, be able to upsell that with the custom packaging on there. When I said earlier about being able to share it, so we have a client-friendly website. It's called yourboxdesign.com, and we can share that in the follow-up. So it's yourboxdesign.com. and the pricing is double your net cost. So there's no ordering from the site. It's clearly to be able to show the customer the offerings that we have, to be able to protect your margins. So you know, if the box is $4 to you, they see the cost of $8, you know, and then if you decide you want to sell it to them for $7, then you become the hero in this situation, to be able to give them $1 off when you still protect all the margins that you want to make. And once you hit the share icon if you create artwork, and you can hit the share icon, and they can go there and see that 3D virtual I talked about. And then if they do click back to see pricing, it will be on that unbranded site that never has anything to do with, doesn't show BoxUp, and they're able to go on there themselves if they want to have design. Like if the customer says, hey, I would like to, you know, design this box, but I don't work in Adobe or any of these offline editing programs, you can send them to your box design. They have the same editor capability that we just looked at in the last video, to where they can upload their logo, pick the designs. And the cool thing is if you send them a link, and we can show you how to do it, it's not a difficult process, but we'll walk you through if anyone's interested in this, to where if you share the icon or the site to them, and any artwork that they create, it'll get saved back into your account. So, you know, there's been times to where customers have said, hey, John, I just got an email that says congratulations on my saved design. I didn't create anything. And then they go in there and click on their My Designs, and they said, oh, I shared this link to, you know, ABC company 3 weeks ago, and now they went on there and they're ready to order these boxes. So it's a cool process to give those end users the ownership of the creative process for those that want to. I understand that, you know, every single client's not going to want to design their own boxes. That's why a lot of people, you know, work with others, but it's a good way to be able to share on there. And then we always have our templates on the website to be able to just share say they want to order the 12x10x4, send them the template. They might have someone on their design team that can whip it up and, you know, omit all that stuff we just talked about. And then we always have free proofs available. So, you know, if it's a situation where you design the artwork for them, you've shown it to them, and they say, hey, that's great, let me see one in person. No cost for you there. You can just provide your shipper account or pay for shipping. So what's new? Custom printed tape was one of the things that we released not too long ago. The MOQ on the tape is 2. So this has been good for those that, you know, if someone needs a 20x20 box that they have to buy elsewhere, that's not, no one's necessarily capable of branding that in a custom printed option for a reasonable price. So they use a stock box with custom tape. So we've had quite a bit of tape orders. It's a 3-inch tape roll. There's 2 tape links. You could do step and repeat in 3, 4, 6, or 12. And it's a self-adhesive tape. So when we first launched this, a lot of people said, is it water activated? And it's not. And so I've heard that people don't like water activated. So it's a good thing it's the self-adhesive. It comes in clear or white on the backing. Polymailers are another thing that we offer. So polymailers are MOQ of 50, and there's 7 sizes: 4 without gusset, and 3 with. So that you can see on the looks like a honeycomb polymailer right there. The gusset opens up at the bottom to be able to give you a little bit more depth, if you will. So we know every project is not going to require a box, and that's why we said earlier to where if you're just diligent about asking, like, how do you plan on presenting this? It might lead to a polymailer. It might lead to something that BoxUp doesn't offer, and that's fine as well. But just by asking every time, you know, you can be able to check many boxes with the boxes, and then, you know, a more cost-effective option of the polymailers. And these are available in the plastic option and the compostable option. So, you know, obviously a polymailer is not as eco-friendly as a box, being plastic versus cardboard, but the compostable option is an option there as well. And then the most excited we are about a new product is the 14-12-5. So I said earlier, the 12x10x4 has always been our most popular box. You know, like I said, shirt, hat, t-shirt, tumbler, those things, and those kitting options. But as everyone knows, drinkware is getting larger, you know, bags are getting larger, sweatshirts, all those things. And so being able to have that extra inch of depth has been very important. We released this at PPI in Vegas in January, and we've had quite a bit of positive response to it, a lot of orders for it, being that it's our largest display mailer. And so, so we're really excited about this. For years, we've been saying, John, we love the display mailers, and we use the shippers as well, but it just doesn't have that same wow factor when you open it that the display mailers do. So we were able to get a hold of some newer technology that came available with the larger machine that we're printing on, and so the 14125 is our largest size, and probably the largest that we'll have for a while. We've pretty much maxed out the size of the machine to be able to be as efficient as we can in our printing process. So the 14125 is our newest size. Another new thing is it's actually a different company. It's the same parent company, say that BoxUp and LogoCup are brother and sister companies. So everything that we learned from boxes, we just hit our 10-year anniversary. So everything that we've learned over the last 10 years, we decided to bring to custom cups. And we're about to hit our 1 year with LogoCup. And so we had the same preferred agreement with LogoCup as, with you guys as we do with BoxUp. And so the custom printed corrugated cups. And like I said earlier, low minimums are something that's very important to us on the box side, being that we have 12 piece. And so for cups, a lot of people, as we're learning, minimums of cups are in the 5, 10, 20,000, and our minimum on cups is 50. So same process. There's no projects too small. We try to make it as easy as possible. There's no setup fees. There's no color charges. We do everything in the USA, which a lot of cup business is from overseas, and it's adding $49 for a color charge here and a $79 setup, and so the price is it's confusing to not even know how to quote a customer without seeing their exact artwork. So with LogoCup, it's nice because that, hey, here's my price that I got from the team, and the only difference in cost is whether you're going to do single wall or double wall. And the double wall has essentially a sleeve built into it, so you don't have a need for a sleeve to drink hot coffee or hot beverages. And it's a really great option for any of those gifting campaigns. And so a lot of what we found with LogoCup, where the impact has been, is anyone who's giving away a drink. So obviously, if you have a coffee shop or someone who's selling drinks, it's a great option for that. That's kind of an obvious one. But for what we've learned is spas, auto dealers, oil change facilities, anything where someone has a waiting room or is giving away a drink. Going back to colleges have all kinds of in-person events and donor events, and just being able to elevate even the cup now is something that we're really excited about. And so, I think that I've noticed so much more now after with LogoCup for a year, how boring even really cool coffee shops. There's a coffee shop in the town that our plant's in Terre Haute, and it's a really cool coffee shop with a really fun vibe in there and aesthetic. And their cups are white with a craft sleeve with black lettering. And it's like, wow, you've spent so much time curating this really cool environment that's weird and quirky and fun, and you have a boring cup. So being able to elevate the cups, just like we talked about boxes, is a really important thing. And you can see on here, same editor, which has been something that we've really been excited about on the editor. So as you change the background colors, it updates in live time. You can rotate, see, do I want to do 2 logos on there? How do they space? And it's really nice that you can print full color. Like right here, a full bleed black cup would be a lot more money elsewhere and not possible at a low minimum elsewhere. And so with LogoCup, we're able to do that. Here's our contact information. So I'm John. Obviously, Jake is our sales manager. I'm not sure if he ended up joining, but and then our general sales inquiries. Taylor runs the sales at BoxUp or sales at LogoCup.com. So if you have just a quote question, say, hey, I really like the process. What would you recommend for these 3 items? Like asking that to Taylor in sales at, we can definitely get you taken care of. Anybody who has a question on wanting to do a proof, any of us can help you, but we're probably going to kind of direct you to that sales at, that way that we can, get your inquiry taken care of as quick as possible. And for those who are listened and thought, hey, I really like the thought of all that, but I don't kind of know where to start. So there's a couple different places there. So from the box side, we're running a free 12 promotion. So you can choose any of our stock sizes, design it however you like. and we'll ship you 12 of them for just the cost of shipping. You can obviously provide a shipper account there. So that's a good way to do. A lot of people in the box side do self promo. So, I have these other items. I want to send them out, and instead of sending them in a blank box or a poly mailer, let me send them out in a custom box and show them my capabilities from the box. That's great. We love that option. You can also design 12 if you have a specific client in mind, because there's lots of times where you have a client that that they would be a great use case for them, but they just aren't willing to spend the $60 or so for the boxes and so you can do that on their behalf. It's a great value add, bringing to them saying, hey, I designed these for you. Go ahead and use them and let me know what you think. And, we've seen that time and time again where that turns into a sale after the fact, because it's hard to go back to something boring and plain versus once you have something that's, elegant and fun. And then on the cup side, we're doing the same promotion, but it's a free 50, being that our MLQ is 50 on cups. And more so on the cup side, people are doing that specifically for a customer. So if you have a university or an auto dealership, the auto dealership one's been really big. When we launched these products at like ASI, Chicago, or PPI, a lot of people are just not even necessarily telling the auto dealership that they're going to do it. They just have us design it for them, or they design it themselves and then take it in there. And replacing somebody's, most all auto shops have a Keurig sitting in their waiting room, whether it's the selling cars or on the service side, and replacing those, boring blank white cups with a custom printed cup that has a QR code that shows, the inventory or the special or something on there. It's hard to go back to, a plain white cup after that. So anybody who has a question on either the free 12 promotion or the free 50, please reach out to our team. You can email Jake, me, or sales at BoxUp or sales at LogoCup.com, and we'd love to get you taken care of.
Awesome, man. That was really fantastic. I like the LogoCup low minimums.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. I don't see if anybody has any questions. I didn't see any come through chat.
I was holding questions.
No worries.
My first question is, do you have a flyer regarding the sustainability? Because sometimes it's easier with certain companies, especially larger ones, to show them the value, because they could say, oh, well, we'll just put them in bags. But I mean, if we could show them the box and sustainability. So as far as flyers, I was concerned with that one, and one specifically, if you have one that's geared towards sports and colleges.
Laura, that to me falls into your wheelhouse of where I feel like Laura just has all the flyers that we have just in her own drive somewhere. But so just to follow up, a sustainability one, and then what was the sports one you were looking for?
But then when you went through the website, I saw that we can go in and make templates. So I guess that one's not as important, but more so something where we can show the benefit and the sustainability factor of using a box.
Yeah, Laura, will you note Mary Lou's name? And I know we have her email somewhere, so we'll send you over that.
Okay.
I'm not sure we have a flyer, but we'll send you one.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then my second thing is, I love the fact that we're able to build virtuals for our clients. However, my next question is, sometimes it's easier, rather than for me to ask my client, hey, how are you going to be presenting these? Maybe sometimes it's easier, I think, to show them, hey, here's the template proof and here's the box. Do you have, or are there any plans in the future to be able to add stuff to the BoxUp virtuals where we can hey, just pull in a random tumbler or whatever?
Yeah.
Or what is your suggestion when we have to do something like that?
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. So in those, some of those use case things that I was showing, especially the university ones, Jake made all those via AI. So some of those were obviously boxes that we've done, but being able to do that with AI is something that we can definitely help with. So that's a great example of a request that if you have something like that, have a project, hey, I'm getting ready to present this to this people, here's their logo, can you mock something up? And, I'm actually going to be quoting them, a Carhartt t-shirt and a tumbler. Can you do some semblance of that in the box? Taylor's great at that, aren't you, Taylor?
Taylor's getting voluntold a lot.
That's a specialty. That's John's specialty for sure.
And then my next question is, do you do kitting as well, or would we get the boxes, or another supplier would get the boxes and they would doing the kitting?
Yeah, we thought about it, and we've tried to partner with somebody, and it's a lot of back and forth, and it's just not something that we've done. So we don't right now. I don't know if we'll ever do it. It's the only downside to us not doing it is, like for example, Profil is in Dayton, and they're, an affiliate of HIT, but so we don't have any arrangement with them. But the only downside is the freight from us in Terre Haute to Dayton. It's a 1-day ship. So there's really not anything lost in that timeline, and that they are able to do it and be experts at it. So we ship everything. Jake, you're talking, but yeah, we don't do kitting, and we would ship everything flat.
Okay. And I think I had one last question regarding the tape you said they're self-sealing. Is that what you said? Or
yeah, so it's got adhesive.
The paper back? Okay, yeah. That was my question. I didn't know if they were like regular packing tape or adhesive. Okay.
Yep. So it's similar to packing tape, and it fits on that same. It's a 3-inch cord, just like some of those.
Awesome. Those were my questions.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the questions.
Yep.
Nice. Anyone else? Cheryl, got any questions?
I always do. So I actually only have one question. You'd mentioned you had free proofs that you said, and you said free with the shipping number. So I'm assuming you're referring to it being a spec sample.
Yeah, I should have specified better, and that led me to something else. So we have free pre-printed samples just are on a rack in our warehouse. Those are the same, no cost, provide your shipper account, and then we do offer free one-off proofs as well. So we call them samples for pre-printed, and then proof would be like your artwork. So we can do that as well. No cost. You just provide your shipper account, provide us the artwork, and we'll ship you a quantity of one.
So you could actually do a spec sample base. You're going to use my customer, or obviously not mine. Mary Lou's customer's logo. You'll create a spec sample for them for just the cost of shipping. You'll send it off. Okay, that's a great offer.
And then the other thing that made me, thank you for your question. The other thing that made me think of is when the cups, we have what we call a sample pack on the cups. So on the cup sizes, we go 10, 12, 16, and 20 ounce in single and double wall. So that's 4 sizes, double and single, so 8 cups. So we on the sample pack, for anyone who wants to get started with cups, you can request a sample pack, no cost for that as well. Just provide your shipper account, and we'll ship you those 8 cups, a lid, and I believe a stadium cup, which is the plastic variety of a cup that we're about to launch as well. And we'll ship all those in a box to you. That way you have all of the cup offerings that we have to be able to, touch and feel at your office.
Awesome. Fantastic. Question. So logo cups would go through you guys through BoxUp at this point, or is it being treated as separate? Because I know we didn't really add anything into Promo AQP's dashboard.
Yeah. So that's a good question. So it's the same, but different. I mean, like, for example, if you email John at LogoCup, it's the same inbox for me. It's the same bank account. Like the invoices are from the same. So everything's just duplicated. But it is a different ASI number. So like we're on Sage under BoxUp and Sage under there, because we just made more sense to sell cups from a cup company and boxes from a box company. So they're different, but they're the same.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll set that up.
And I just saw in Sage, they are, all their LogoCup products are coming up as LogoCup, not BoxUp.
What we'll do is we'll set that up as a line name then.
Okay.
A sub-line name to BoxUp, and then I'll get with you guys for logos and stuff like that and go from there.
Great.
Folks, that was really informative. It was really good. Thank you so much for taking part in this, and thanks for taking the time out of your day and everybody to join us here for this one. Like I said, this is recorded. We are going to put this up on our social next week after we get a little edited down. But this is one of the reasons why BoxUp is a strategic supplier for us. They have fantastic stuff, and they're really great to work with. So John, Laura, Taylor, thanks so much, Jake. They're in spirit, if not. Thanks for being a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a great one.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.